Well, good morning. My name is Christopher Enriquez, and this is my video on informed consent. In this video, I'm going to talk about five main things: the ACA Code of Ethics, the California Code of Regulations, Dr. Erica's informed consent, three scholarly sources, and a biblical principle. According to the American Counseling Association, the Code of Ethics, a counselor must include certain elements within their informed consent. Those can be found in 8.2, 8.6, 8.10, B2, and B.5. Those enrolled from D.2 to H.6 here on the screen deal with informed consent, but outside of the initial informed consent for counseling. For instance, assessments, research, evaluation, supervision, all of those are included in the D.2 to H.6. According to the California Code of Regulations, in telehealth, a counselor must obtain consent from the client following the California Business Profession Code 2290.5. Also, he or she must show and give their license number or registration number to their client. Number 3, the counselor must include the benefits and risks of having counseling via telehealth. And also, the counselor must give or show evidence that he tried to give or she tried to give contact information to relevant resources of his or her client's location. That can be emergency numbers for clinics, suicide hotlines nearby, hospitals, other counselors as well. All of those informations the counselor needs to show that he has or she has found that information. When I typed in the informed consent or professional informed consent, I found Dr. Erica's, and it was very enlightening. And I found some similarities and some differences compared to hers with the California code and also the ACA Code of Ethics. Some of the similarities were the nature of services provided. She also mentioned her techniques. She mentioned the risk and the benefits of counseling and also other resources. She mentioned her qualifications and credentials, where she went to school, that she has a doctorate. She also talked about technology integration. And she also used understandable language. Well, to me, it was understandable as a English first language, as English is my first language. The differences were the continuation of services. She didn't mention what would happen if if an emergency arose and she had to end her session for that day. She did mention that she would contact the client before 5 p.m. of the day before, but she didn't mention anything of what would happen if she canceled a client's session that day. She also included informed consent for minors and couples, and I believe that was something that was very unique and interesting to have different ones, maybe for different people as well. I thought that was very, very important to have. She had a section for complaints. She gave the address for the client. So if you have a complaint about what I did, here's the address. This is what you need to do. And she also said that, hey, you have rights to make a complaint. I thought that was very important. It kind of has that transparency right away for the clients. She also had a section about medical issues and medication. And she also talked about the electronic records and electronic protected health information, which deals a lot with technology integration, but it was a little bit more specified in this section. And when I read her informed consent, I was blown away. I was bewildered, as my screen says. I was shocked because it made me realize that an informed consent must be detailed because it really is so important. And hers, I think, was 8 pages, if I remember correctly. And when I first started the program, and I kept reading informed consent, I was thinking it was like a 1-page bulleted place, clients read it and then they sign it. But no, it is so much more than just that. And I found out, wow, this informed consent is very important and should be copious and detailed and direct. And as I was reading this the different regulations, I found 3 different sources that all relate to more of the research consent form than it is for counselors, while each of them are very apropos to counseling. And Rio Lai and Lois Vitton's article, Visual Informed Consent Without Forms, they believe that many times researchers have this informed consent to protect themselves than really it is to inform their clients. Furthermore, in Grady et al.'s article, Readability of Informed Consent Documents at University. Oh, I am so sorry. I made a mistake. In Grady et al.'s article, they mentioned how when they collect the data, they realize that people who signed the informed consents maybe did not fully understand what they were signing. I think that is very important as well. And in the Lustgarten et al.'s article, which is the one I was saying earlier, is the readability of informed consent documents at university counseling centers. The authors mentioned that there should be a translation for those who don't have English as their first language and have these documents informed consent in different languages. And this goes with the California's Health and Safety Code 24122, which says that a person who signs a informed consent for experiments must be written. The informed consent must be written in their fluent language. And I believe that all of these articles, though they deal with research, are very important for informed consent, because we want to make sure that when we write it, it's not for us to protect us solely. It is to inform them, to let them know what they can get and what are the risks of being in counseling. Also, in Grady et al.'s article, it proves that not everyone understands what they sign. So we need to make sure it is as friendly to the client as possible. And number 3, it showed that, if we can have a translation for those who are more comfortable in a session with or signing something that's in their native language than it is in their second language. And as I was reading this, as I was preparing for this presentation and doing the research, the main biblical principle that came in my mind was integrity. In the modern English version, in 1 Peter 3:16, it states, "Have a good conscience, so that evildoers who speak evil of you and falsely accuse you, your good conduct in Christ, may be ashamed." When you know you have done everything correctly, your informed consent is in friendly language, it's direct, it's concise, you have done everything by the letter based on the ACA Code of Ethics, based on your state's regulations and laws and ethics. If you do everything correctly, then there's no way that somebody who tries to accuse you of malpractice will be able to win, because you've done everything to the letter. So integrity is a biblical principle that I found within this project. And here are the resources that I used for this project. Let's move me there. And then I also got this presentation from SlidesGo. Thank you so much for your time, and I cannot wait to hear your replies.